Hello from the streets of Hong Kong. In this video, we'll be traveling aboard Cathay Pacific non-stop from Hong Kong to Chicago on the Airbus A350-1000. Flight time is approximately 14 and a half hours and will be in economy class. This was my first time flying Cathay Pacific, and I was very excited to try their economy class experience after hearing so many positive things. Without further ado, let's get started. I visited Hong Kong for several days after a week-long trip to Japan and Germany and was returning to the United States with a connection in Chicago. Cathay Pacific offers several destinations to the United States from Hong Kong, including Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, and San Francisco. They also serve Vancouver and Toronto in Canada. I began my trek to the airport early in the morning via one of Hong Kong's mini bus routes. I arrived at Hong Kong International Airport early and proceeded to the check-in desk for my flight. Cathay Pacific offers digital and online check-in as an option, but I had some difficulty and had to check in manually. There was no line for economy class passengers, and the staff were incredibly kind, making the process quick and smooth. Immigration and customs were also quick, with digital and facial ID scanners. Security didn't take long either, leaving me with over an hour to spare before boarding. Since my gate was a little far from the entrance, I used Hong Kong's efficient airport train system to get there quickly. It's a fantastic feature that makes navigating the airport much easier. You can get off at 3 different stops depending on where your gate is or your final destination within the airport. Once I arrived at my gate, I took the opportunity to explore the beautiful Hong Kong airport and do a little bit of plane spotting. I decided to grab a bite to eat before departing and went to a small food court. The airport excels at providing clean, accessible food options and facilities. By the time I returned to my gate, passport checks had begun. It was a bit chaotic, with all economy passengers lining up together before waiting in a relatively small area. Once boarding began, there was no zoning. Everyone in economy boarded at once. For a wide-body aircraft seating hundreds of passengers, this meant a long line wrapping around the gate. While orderly, the process felt disorganized compared to other airlines. I took to my seat, 74K, on the first officer's side of the aircraft. Cathay Pacific arranges their economy class seating in a 3-3-3 configuration. They use the HKG Vector Y Plus seat, which offers 32 inches of pitch and a width of 18 inches, plus an adjustable headrest with extendable wings and a reclining seat. A soft blanket and pillows were provided, and I found the seat surprisingly comfortable. Compared to the Lufthansa 747-8 I flew recently, these seats had much better cushioning. On the A350, some airlines choose 3-4-3 seating and a 10 abreast configuration for higher capacity, but Cathay's choice of 3-3-3 seating ensures extra space and comfort for passengers in economy. This configuration made the aisles wider and overall more spacious. Fortunately, I had an entire row to myself, which allowed me to spread out. However, my IFE screen wasn't fully functioning. Thankfully, I could use the other screens in my row, but this would have been a major issue on a full flight, as I would have had next to no entertainment for 14 and a half hours. In the seat back pocket, you can find an Inflight magazine, a safety card, and a pair of headphones. I really appreciated this, and this sets the tone with Cathay Pacific, as they tend to give their economy class passengers a relatively good experience compared to other airlines. When I flew JetBlue Transatlantic, all I was provided was a small pair of earbuds. This is a big step up. The flight crew then distributed menus shortly after boarding, which I appreciated as it gave plenty of time to review the options. We began pushback and the safety video was shown. I enjoyed the A350's onboard cameras, which offer a clearer view compared to older aircraft like the 747 from Lufthansa. It's very interesting to see different perspectives as opposed to the traditional view outside the window. We then taxied to runway 07 center and began our departure. Let's watch. At cruising altitude, I explored the Inflight entertainment system. Cathay Pacific offers hundreds of movies, TV shows, and music in several languages. I was impressed with the variety and quality of the offerings, which provided plenty of options for the long flight. Another small thing I'd like to note is that the seat back is very functional. There are multiple flaps that you can pull out not only for storage, but to also place your items. The tray table extends and can be folded in if you want to kind of put it away quickly. The meal service began with a beverage and peanuts, followed by lunch. I chose fried fish and sweet corn sauce with jasmine rice. The food was warm and delicious, and I was pleasantly surprised by the inclusion of real metal utensils, something I'd only experienced in business class before. Small touches like this, combined with a friendly and attentive crew, made the service really stand out in economy. To kill some time, I visited the restroom. While not spotlessly clean, it was better maintained than some other airlines I've flown, such as Air Canada. Cathay even provides hand gel for economy class passengers. Another small but thoughtful touch normally reserved for business class travelers. After a few movies, I decided to sleep. Thanks to the empty row, I could stretch out and create a makeshift bed, allowing me to get a couple hours of rest. I only woke up briefly due to some turbulence. As the sun began to rise, I played games on the IFE screen and watched the changing sky. There was some turbulence that delayed beverage service for a short time, but I stayed entertained. Separately, I noticed that my nose felt particularly dry compared to a previous Boeing 787 flight. The Airbus A350 has a lower cabin pressure altitude compared to the 787, which usually helps reduce dryness, so this was a little unexpected. It's a relatively minor note, and overall the A350 remains a very comfortable aircraft. Breakfast was served soon before arrival. I chose scrambled eggs, bacon, pork sausage, potatoes, and oven-dried cherry tomato, accompanied by fresh fruit, yogurt, and bread. The quality was fantastic, rivaling meals I've had in business class. As we approached Chicago, the crew prepared the cabin for landing. We then began our final descent and approach into Chicago O'Hare. Let's watch. We arrived an hour ahead of schedule, a welcome surprise since I needed to cross town to make a connection at Chicago Midway. We soon deplaned the aircraft and made our way towards immigration and customs. To conclude, I had an outstanding flight with Cathay Pacific from Hong Kong to Chicago. The crew's professionalism and attention to detail stood out, along with thoughtful touches like comfortable seating, real metal utensils, and great food. There were minor issues such as the boarding process, lavatory cleanliness, and the faulty IFE screen, but I believe these were isolated incidents rather than reflective of Cathay Pacific as a whole. I'm glad I chose Cathay Pacific over United Airlines for my travels returning back to the States. Initially, I had planned on flying United Airlines through San Francisco, but decided to give Cathay a try, and I really look forward to flying with them again as I had an outstanding experience. If you've ever flown Cathay Pacific before, I'd love to hear your experiences in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.